Since the day I took this job almost 3 years ago, what Mr. Davis has preached has been three things. It's been diversity, social justice, and domestic violence. So when we go into drafts, if there's a guy with a history with any of those type of things, I'm in Mr. Davis's office trying to show him what's going on, whether or not we've done our due diligence on that guy, and whether that person should be in this building. He's been consistent with his messaging, and in regards to the John Gruden situation, we all respect his decisions, and we're going to move ahead accordingly.
Welcome to the Silver and Black Show, presented by Cox. I'm JT the Brick, joined by former Raiders All-Pro Lincoln Kennedy. As everybody knows by now, John Gruden has resigned as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. It's been a very difficult week for Raider Nation and owner Mark Davis. He broke his silence with a statement on Wednesday saying, quote, "I have no comment. Ask the NFL. They have all the answers." Lincoln, I couldn't think of a better person to speak on this matter, being that you played for John Gruden, you've been in the organization for 20 years. Tell me what transpired this week and your thoughts.
Well, I'm still trying to process it, to be honest with you, JT. I've been numb with it. I've known Gruden and his family for over 23 years, since he first became the head coach of the Raiders in 1998, and have, been around him in some way or the other, even his days at ESPN. Then I never heard that verbiage. I never heard that rhetoric, and so I was set beside myself when I read it. And again, it's still fresh. I'm still trying to process it to figure out who did I actually really know.
Yeah, now as a member of the media, a lot of members of the media, people around this organization, they're also trying to process it. And it's very difficult. There really isn't a script on how to react to this, as this team's got to turn around as we get ready for the Broncos and get ready to play football. Well,
that's the most important thing. The focus is on the Broncos, the next team up that the Raiders have to get away from this two-game losing streak. So it's going to be a difficult challenge, but I think they've got the tools necessary to make it happen.
Rich Bisaccia is the new head coach of the Silver and Black. And this is very interesting, and I think they got it right. This is a longtime coach in this league, also a former assistant head coach. You can't say, Lincoln, he was groomed for this type of opportunity, but he's been talked about as a head coach candidate for years. He's the right man for the job.
Interviewed as a head coach candidate in a couple situations. I think it is the right choice, mainly because you allow Gus Bradley to run his 25 players on the defense. You'll allow Greg Olsen to run his 25 players on the offense. Both him and Derek Carr have a good enough rapport, being in to each other for more than 4 years now, to where they know how to do that. So we've seen bright spots throughout the season about the offense and the defense. I think it'll be good that Coach Bisaccia can just manage the total team aspect and not have to focus on one side or the other.
Here's Coach Bisaccia from earlier this week.
Is it ever a good time, when it happens like this? I think the thing that's unique to us is we have a good team. We're a 3-2 team. It's not like we've gone through some type of a bad cycle and all of a sudden there's been a change and it's the end of the season and the season's over. We have 12 games. We feel like we have a lot of time. We feel like all our goals are still in front of us. And my message to the team was really about the team and them. Their goals are still alive, and we'll see what transpires as we go forward. But I don't think that the time was a big issue, particularly because of the staff that we have. Defense continuity, been together a long time. I've certainly been with Greg a long time on offense. I understand to some degree what we're doing on offense. Coach Cable's been in this a long time, so we have veteran coaches. And so I think what the time did is it gave us a little bit of a stumbling block in the beginning. We certainly had to go through this as well, and then I think everybody got back to work as usual.
I really respect how he handled this. Imagine the spot he was put in to come out, talk to the media that way for the first time as a head coach, have to deal with the backstory, and then Lincoln rally this team.
And as he said, he's got a pretty good coaching staff. We got a lot of coaches that had head coaching experience. Gus Bradley, Greg Olsen, as well as Coach Cable have had head coaching experience. And much to your point, JT, I think it's opportunity for Coach Bisaccia to really step up and show what he's capable of. He's been around football for a long time, has a great history, a great rapport around the league. I feel he has a strong rapport in that locker room. I think the players will respond well to him.
Yeah, the rapport in the locker room is critical here. But on top of that, he handles the most amount of players, special teams, offense, and defense. Let's get into that, Lincoln. The amount of players that he's talked to before this on an everyday basis, getting them ready on game day.
Well, the thing is that you go to the leaders first and foremost, and then it kind of trickles down to some of the younger players. But his involvement with every person and some team, some way or other, because everyone usually plays as a part of special teams other than quarterback is huge. That adds to the rapport, and of course that he's been here for a while. A lot of the guys, especially the young guys, really respect him.
I love the fact that he's ready for this. He made that clear all week. He is up for this challenge. He will have this team ready. He understands the position he's in right now. When we come back on the Silver and Black Show, we'll get you ready for our conversation with the new head coach and preview the Denver Broncos coming up.
The Silver and Black Show is brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. And by Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights. Book now, only at Allegiant.com.
I think when adversity hits, it really just brings out everyone's true colors. Obviously, this team is no stranger to adversity. You know, I've dealt with it every year I've been here, and this is a time, you know, everybody's got to come together. I know my teammates, we've talked, and we've been in this together for years now. So I know we got new guys, we got guys that have been here, and we just all got to, you know, bond together in a hard time like this.
I'm excited to move forward with who we got. You know, I believe in Ole. I believe that he, you know, gives us a chance to win. I believe that he believes in Derek and his ability. They're going to, you know, make things a little more simple for guys, and, you know, we're just going to go out there and play and have fun. You know, it's all this stuff right now can be a little cloudy, but it's good to be able to just get back into a routine of doing things that we know and that we love. So we believe in who's leading us right now, and Rich and Ole, and, you know, we believe in the guys standing next to us.
I think there are things set in place with our offense. I've been with Ole. You know, my rookie year, he called plays. I've heard his voice, you know, through the headset. I know how he calls a game, and I know how he thinks. We're in the same room. Every conversation I had with Coach Gruden, I had with Ole, you know, this whole time. And so, you know, us three and now Johnny Moe, we were all together all the time. And so it's not going to be anything crazy new, but there are philosophies that some people have. So I don't want to give Ole's secrets away, but could things be different? Yes. Could things be similar? Yes, absolutely. You know, but if Denver's listening, we're probably just going to run the ball the whole time.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Show. And Lincoln, the captains. I want to spend time on this. I thought they were fantastic. It's a reason why they all have the C on their jersey. Let's start with Derek Carr in a really tough spot with his relationship with Coach Gruden, and now what happens as he leads this team.
Well, I will say this, that in light of the situation, the fact that Derek has such a rapport with Greg Olsen, with the offense, and knowledge of the offense aids him. We've seen over the years the maturation process with Derek and this offense, how he's had more check with me built into the system. So he's going to be confident what he can do. And that, you know, there might be a little bit of change of pace with a different play caller. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But to your point, when the captains were put on the spot with a very difficult situation and answer the question, they all said that we rely on our teammates and the security of the teammates. When it comes down to this, players play, coaches coach. And when it comes down to the players going out there doing their job, they're focused on the next opponent. That's the Denver Broncos. And that's why they were saying after that press conference, we know what happened. It's time to move forward.
From a media perspective, and there was a lot of national media here, I thought it was very important to roll out the captains.
Yes.
They are leaders. They nailed it. They spoke from the heart. They were going through a difficult time. I think it's a really important moment in their careers. However they end up long term from now, they were put in that spot and they handled it well.
If you think about the transition from the team coming to Vegas to this point right now, after COVID, everything that this team has been through, the seasons they had last year, where they are, how they started, where they are with the two-game losing streak, for something like this to happen, there have been a lot of people who are questioning who's the leaders in the locker room, who's standing up. The ones that did stand up and spoke out with the press did it the right way, handled it the right way, and it seemed to be well-respected opinions amongst the masses. So I thought it was a good thing.
Well, Greg Olsen has been here for a while. Let's hear from the offensive coordinator.
You know, I've been in every meeting involving Derek Carr and the offensive game plan. We've got a veteran staff and Edgar Bennett, who really controls that wide receiver run group. We got Tom Cable, who, you know, has controlled the offensive line and communicated with the offensive line. And then John and myself and our assistant Johnny Moe really met with Derek or the quarterbacks as a group through every meeting. So as far as that go, the communication part of it hasn't changed at all, other than the voice that they're hearing now, the plan from. And then obviously our work schedule during the week, we've remained the same this week with the exception that as John's not involved.
He has a tremendous track record.
Yes.
He's been there before. He mentioned Johnny Morton. This staff on the defensive side, we'll get to later in the show, this is a staff that was brought together. Now they have to step up, and Greg Olsen is someone who has a big-time track record with Derek Carr.
And they've got experience with one another. That's key. This is not something that's fresh, the staff was just put together. They have experience with one another, and they've already developed a rapport with one another. The only adjustment that's going to happen is the play calling, the minding and structure of the play calling. So we'll just have to wait and see how it pans out for them.
We're going to talk about the play calling coming up here, and when we look at that, and again, I wonder what's going to happen. From what we've talked about on this set, on radio podcasts, how the offense can maybe explode a little bit more here under a change in the organization. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Only time will tell.
Well, this is an interesting time right now when you take a look at the coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball. But again, with Derek Carr, Lincoln, this is also very important to me because Carr has had some really big games early in the season at an MVP level. They struggled the last couple of weeks. So the communication with the offensive coordinator and the quarterback, everybody's going to be looking at that this week.
Well, as well as starting on get a fast start, because that's what the team has struggled even prior to this incident. They've struggled with a fast start and coming into their own later in games. And look, the thing is that we talked about familiarity. Going into this game with Denver, they're facing the same defense that they played the last 2 weeks. The Bears and the Chargers run the very same defense at the behest of Vic Fangio when he was affiliated with those other organizations. So that third time around might prove better for not only Derek Carr, the efficiency of the offense, and more so the speed of the offense get going earlier.
In an interesting way, this could be a big wake-up call for this offense, and maybe they could be more explosive. We'll see. Coming up next, my conversation with the new head coach of the Silver and Black as we continue on the Silver and Black Show.
But you had a tweet the other night after it was announced that Rich Bisaccia is going to be the interim head coach here, and he said that Rich is one of the favorite coaches you've ever had. So I'll ask you this. You spent time with him in Dallas, I think 3 seasons, 15 to 17. Yeah. What about Rich makes him the right guy for this moment, for this organization, do you think?
I mean, he's a great leader. Like the difference between him and a lot of coaches out there is that he'll shoot you straight. Like he'll shoot you 100% straight. Like, and that's all we ask for as a player. You know, if I'm not playing and I want to know why I'm not getting PT and you kind of give me this runaround answer, like I'm going to know that you're lying to me. And then it's going to be hard for me to want to like run through a wall for you when it comes down to it, because now I don't believe I can trust you because you won't even tell me the truth while we're behind closed doors and it's just man to man. Rich Bisaccia is the type of guy, I mean, he's a New Yorker, you know what I'm saying? So he's always been that, like, you know, in your face type guy. Is like, I'm not nervous. I'm not going to back down from anything. And he'll tell you the truth, man. Like, I mean, a lot of guys that had him in Dallas would tell you the same thing. Like, you know, Rich, he's a guy that if I need an answer, if I need to figure something out, you know, you could go to Rich and like, he will tell you the truth.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Show. Rich Bisaccia is the new head coach of the Raiders. I sat down with him to talk about his blue-collar grit, his leadership, and what he expects to bring to the Silver and Black. Coach, welcome in, and let's begin. I want to talk about your long career as a coach and assistant head coach, which to me is fascinating. You've been preparing for this type of opportunity as assistant head coach along the way. How does that help you with this position now?
Yeah, I think, you know, certainly preparation is key to any business success and regardless of what you do. And I've been fortunate to be with some incredible coaches along the way, not only 19 years in college, but certainly now my time in the NFL, from starting with, you know, obviously Coach Gu back in Tampa, and then getting to go be with Norv Turner for me was incredible experience over there in San Diego, and then being with Jason for 5 years, the guy that had been with us as a player in Tampa, and then getting to work with him, and then coming back to here. So, not to mention the assistant coaches I've had a chance to be with, you know, all the way from Monty Kiffin to Bill Mura, and now Matt Eberflus, who's over there in Indy, and then certainly Coach Marinelli, you know, and Gus and I have been together before, and Coach Ole and I have been together before, and now have a chance to be with, you know, Coach Cable and Edgar and Ron Milas and Richard Smith, and so I've had really good fortune in coaching.
You know, we've had a few days, but What has it been like overseeing these position groups and these coaches now at the end of the day, the beginning of the day in this new role?
Yeah, oversee, interesting. It was so good to get to practice yesterday, and I think we try, all of us as coaches and players, never to lose the awe factor of what we get to do, to actually go out on the field and practice or play football. And then, Gus has the keys to what we're trying to do on defense, and Ole and Coach Cabes and those guys have the keys to what we're trying to do on offense. And I'm going to try to do the best I can with Byron to manage our teams, and collectively, we're going to put a product on the field that hopefully Raider Nation can be proud of. So
this is a great staff. So with Gus Bradley, he comes in, he puts his handprint on this defense. We've seen the defense have some big moments, but Greg Olsen, Johnny Morton, the offensive minds on this team working together, former head coaches and Tom Cable and Gus Bradley, and how you'll lean on them with what they're planning to do with the game plan every week.
Yeah, and Coach Marinelli is a former head coach, as well. So I think the exciting thing is we have a tremendous amount of continuity, not only with that particular part, but like Gus with his staff that got the handpick and bring with them. They've been together a long time. And then Edgar Bennett's been an offensive coordinator before, and Richard Smith's been a defensive coordinator before to the Super Bowl. So to your point, again, I am fortunate again to be around a tremendous amount of assistant coaches with no personal agenda, no particular ego of self, and so that part's been a lot of fun. I think that we all have a voice. We can all listen and learn from each other, and again, hopefully put a collective vision on the field together.
Let's move to Denver. Vic Fangio, this defense just went up against Khalil Mack, so their front in Chicago was the strength. Here, it's the secondary of Denver, the most expensive in football. A lot of really good players, hard hitters, and ball hawks. What do you see with the Denver defense?
Yeah, I've known Coach Fangio a long time. And if you start talking about Denver, you're talking about the two V's. Vic Fangio and Von Miller. So it starts with them. Certainly on defense, he's a defensive head coach. He has a tremendous amount of experience as well. They're a ball hawking team. They're punching at the ball all the time. They're staying on top. They're playing the deep ball really well, and we all know about the rush and what they're doing up front. So, and they've been doing some good things on offense. I think they're very similar. They started off 3-0 as well, and they hit a bump in the road in a different state. And so this is a storied rivalry, certainly in all of pro football, certainly in the AFC, and always going up there is fun. There's a lot of Denver dislikers of the Raiders, right?
Sure.
I'm sure it goes the other way. And the thing I love about rivalries, I'm a big Yankee fan, and some people hate the Red Sox. Me, I love the Red Sox because without the Red Sox, the Yankees have no rivalry. So I love the opportunity to go play Denver and the other teams in our conference, because that's what great rivalries are all about, to have two teams that really enjoy playing against each other, competing against each other, and keeping the AFC rivalries alive.
Good luck in Denver, Coach.
Thank you very much.
The Silver and Black Show has been brought to you by 1800 Tequila, the best taste in tequila and official partner of the Raiders. And by Chevron. No gasoline gives you better mileage than Chevron with Techron. Chevron, together ahead.
Their offense, I'm sure, won't change as far as schematically what they're doing, but obviously the new play caller will maybe zero in on some other stuff that maybe they haven't used as much, or major in certain they have a lot of personnel groups, so it will be the same offense, but how it's called and how it's utilized will be different.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Show. These teams mirror each other. They started off 3-0. Broncos easier opponents, but they've lost 2 in a row, both these teams. A big spot here. One team's going to come out with a victory and be close to the top of the AFC West.
And you kind of sense a little bit of desperation on both teams, being at that 2-game losing streak. So it's interesting to see. It's a difficult place to play, but not an impossible place to play. And one of the things that the Raiders have really got to get better on both sides of the ball, defensively, they got to be able to stop the ball and stop the run a lot better.
Lincoln, let's go to the Denver defense. It's led by their secondary, the highest priced secondary. They added another young player. They are loaded back there, and they are ball hawks.
They are ball hawks, and they've also got a perennial pass rusher in Von Miller. And like Coach said, you got to be aware of where he is on the football field. The offensive linemen are going to have their hands full, keeping that rush, keeping Derek healthy. But the receivers really got to win on their routes when they get in the secondary.
With the strength of the secondary, you were talking about Colton Miller. Yeah. This offensive line needs to be stabilized, especially at Mile High. How has he been playing? What do you expect from him?
Well, there's been so much uncertainty and, sort of juggling, if you will, at the spots. Colton Miller has been really the main focus and that I've seen that's been the most consistent on the offensive line. He's going to have to remain that way. There have been a number of defensive ends that have tried him over the last couple of weeks. Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, they tried him and they have not had success. So he's going to have to remain consistent. The other chemistry from the other offensive line is going to eventually come.
You know, the Broncos are going to be trying to rush the football. Perryman leads the NFL in tackles here. That's a big deal. Lincoln, how do they stop the rush up front on the interior? They have to have a big game.
You got to make Teddy Bridgewater want to try to beat you with his arms. You know, he's only thrown 2 touchdown passes, no more than 2 touchdown passes in all of his 68 starts. So you cannot have the run take over. They are physical up front, but the Raiders are going to have to match that physical nature and stop that run very quickly.
Well, I remember you as a great player. I was at your games, and I remember you in Denver.
Yeah.
There was something about you and Mile High. You brought your A game and had a couple of big moments.
Well, you know what? It might surprise you. One of our standout memories that I have in Denver was in 2002 when Rod Woodson returned an interception for 98 yards for a touchdown. And the reason why that was such is because we had started off the season winning 4 games. We lost our next 4. We went to Denver, always had trouble beating the Broncos in Denver, and we were able to come have a big game, and that really catapulted us throughout the rest of the season.
Lincoln, you know motivation as good as anybody I know. There's a lot to be motivated for. Brand new head coach, an opportunity to get to 4-2, be right there in the division. This team's got to show up. They got to come out fast. They got to come out angry, physical. I expect they will.
Well, that's the key. They got to come out fast. They got to find out what has been their biggest hindrance in these last 5 games of off to these slow starts, rectify that, and get a little momentum early. You can't spot teams double-digit leads and expect to be able to come back.
Yeah, this is a big opportunity here for everyone in this organization. An opportunity for the Raiders to show up, have a big experience with the Raider Nation on the road in Denver. Go get a win for the new coach. Get the Raider Nation going again. I'm JT with Lincoln Kennedy. Thanks for watching, everyone. Go Raider Nation.